Oh yeah. Time to get up. Move around with us. Get some exercise. Burn some calories. Yeah. All right. That is Ghost Beats. I'll make sure to tag him in our social media, all that good stuff. Welcome to episode 12. Are we episode 12? We episode 12 in it.
12.
We are episode 12 in it. Yes. I can't believe it. This year is going by fast. I know I'm a broken record. I get it, but it's the truth. This year is going by fast. So, welcome to episode 12 of Real Talk with Coach Q and
brokerwes.
All right. So, before we get started with our show, if this is your first time watching, I'm going to do a quick introduction to let you know who are these fine black men talking to me today. So, we're going to do our introductions. So, my name is qierrerealestate, aka Coach Q. I am a realtor. I get the opportunity to help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And I also get to coach agents to help them build successful real estate businesses. And also let Wes introduce himself to let you know what he does.
Hey everybody, it's Wes, y'all. Wes Oliver, aka Broker Wes, the mortgage wizard, the money man, the bringer of rain, the breaker of financial chains, the first of his name. How's everybody doing today? I am Wes Oliver, and I'm here to help more people be able to understand their financial options for buying a home and help them figure out what works best for their overall financial picture. That's what I love to do.
Wow, what an introduction. Wow, that was a great introduction, man. I gotta take some notes from you. That was a great introduction. So what we like to do, we like to start with something called success tips. And I want to share with you a message from my mentor, John Maxwell. And he talks about the philosophy of forgiveness. Now, when we do something wrong, we always want to strive, and we always have a desire to have a person forgive us, for our mistakes. And he also says that as much as we desire for people to forgive us, we also make sure that we have that intention and that philosophy to forgive others for any wrongdoing they've done on us. Now, I said forgive. I didn't say forget. Forgive, right? So it's just all about moving the world in a positive way, creating that positive energy. So creating that positive energy starts with the desire to get forgiveness from others, and also for you to forgive others for any injustice they did to you. So move with positive energy and move with that forgiveness. And Wes, what's your take on the philosophy of forgiveness?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Two things. Number one, I'm someone who firmly believes that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's merely transferred. And so when you're harboring that negative energy for someone who may have wronged you or someone you're upset with, that energy kind of takes its toll on you. And so that's not a good thing. And the way my mentor explained it to me, he said, being mad at someone else and expecting them to be hurt by it is like swallowing poison and expecting someone else to die. So it's better that you don't carry that negative energy. It's better that you get rid of it because it doesn't serve you and it really doesn't hurt them. All it does is hurt you.
Yes, I love that. Now, we can't move forward without acknowledging a very important day that's going to be happening in the next couple of days. It is the 4th of July. So if you happen to be watching this video live, you're probably looking back there. It's like, what's that American flag doing behind that guy's head? It's because it's the 4th of July, right? It's our Independence Day, and that's going to be coming up soon in the next couple of days. So I just want to take a moment just to share, I'll share first about what, Independence Day means to me and what America means to me. And then I'll also let Wes share his opinions about America and Independence Day and so forth. So when I think about, the 4th of July, what I definitely think about is, independence. And I also think about, being a patriot and, definitely thinking about, how much I love this country. Now, obviously, there's always things that can be corrected, things that can always be fixed in this country. Nothing's perfect, right? But to for me, I've had experiences with other people from all over the world, and hearing their stories, about how they live their lives under different, government systems, and a lot of them came to this country, right? And the reason why they came to this country is because, the American dream, you know, the freedom, life to liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? And for me, I get to do that each and every day. I get to wake up, you know, right next to the love of my life. You know, I get to, see my amazing daughter. I get to inspire others with helping them with their real estate careers as well as their life. And they also get the opportunity to work with people to help them reach their real estate goals, as well as being a father, a husband, a brother, a cousin, a friend, a business partner, right? I get to experience all these things, because of America. So when I think of America, I think of a place where I've been able to really strive and really pursue my happiness with no limitations.
Yeah, for me, it's basically everyone here being committed to the great experiment that started, you know, over a couple centuries ago. And I really think for me, I always focus on in order to form a more perfect union. And to me, that is a beautiful sentiment because it's always about trying to get better, trying to improve, trying to figure out a way to, cure whatever issues we have and make things work better as a society and to be the best representation of ourselves as a nation. So uh, that's what comes to mind when I think about, the 4th of July, just a moment where everybody takes pause and says, yeah, we're still on board with this experiment and we're still committed to working together to try to create a more perfect union going forward.
Well said, sir. Well said. All right. Now, next we move on to our main event. Now, we have mortgage forbearance. It's definitely been a big thing, right? You know, our banks are gonna, start the foreclosure process. Our banks going to extend the mortgage forbearance. Like, what is really happening? So, I believe what a couple weeks ago, we read a report that two major banks, one was Wells Fargo, one was Bank of America, and they were talking about actually starting the mortgage forbearance process in July. And now what they're saying is every bank now has decided to extend that mortgage forbearance. And I'm going to let Wes spell more on that.
Yeah, so the extension of the mortgage forbearance obviously is a good thing. But one of the things that, as I started doing research on the topic, that came up, which I thought was very important, is the regulations that the CFPB is putting in place to help people who are coming out of a forbearance. Now, many of you may not remember. I mean, it was what 15 years ago or something like that. Um, One of the big frustrations, and in some cases considered failures of the Obama administration, was that when we had the last crash with the real estate market, very little was done to initially to help everyday homeowners, and a lot of the aid went to the major banks, who most people deemed crashed the economy in the first place. So I really feel like the Biden administration has made a commitment to make sure that they don't get tacked with that same, mojo, bad mojo, or juju. So, number one, they're putting in safeguards to ensure sufficient time for people to determine their options if they have to go through when they come out of the forbearance. So, a couple of those options are going to be obviously, I didn't know they were going to be doing this, but they're going to be offering loan modifications again. So that's great. And then also, if people want to sell their home, they're going to give them time to sell their home before the bank does anything, to deter that process. And this is what's really interesting, very powerful language. They're requiring servicers to redouble their efforts to prevent avoidable foreclosures. And I can tell you right now, as someone who was in a position to get a loan modification back in 2010, who also worked in that industry, there were a lot of failures and a lot of people were failed through the loan modification back then. So it feels like this time they're really focused on making sure that people have every opportunity to keep their home and that the banks give them every opportunity to keep their home. So a couple other things, they're going to be offering streamlined modifications, and basically they won't be able to increase the borrower's payments, and they'll have other protections built in, and they will not, in some cases they won't even require all of the paperwork initially to start the process or actually get the modification. And also very important, because this is something that was different between now and then, servicers will be required to increase their outreach to borrowers to inform them about options for repayment or other resolutions before initiating foreclosure. Because again, that was some of the things that we heard about what was happening like 2008, 2010. You know, a lot of us have heard that story about the bank that Steve Mnuchin was running, where some senior couple down in Florida, I believe it was, made a mortgage payment like $1 too low, and they just foreclosed on them like that. So like I said, it looks like this time they're really, really keeping an eye on the banks, and like I said, putting the responsibility on them to be the adults in the situation.
Yeah, I like that. So, Wes, what would you tell a person that's thinking about waiting to buy a house because they feel that they're going to see this big crash and see this, opportunity to buy homes cents of a dollar? What would you tell these people?
Well, again, this is just more proof that what we're experiencing now is different than what happened in 2008. And at least right now, on paper, it seems like they've learned some lessons from what happened back then compared to now. And so I just really don't think, and again, I always remind you guys, get specific when you talk about real estate. So we are in Southern California, and I really don't see this convergence of people who are going to have to go through foreclosures, even aside from all this stuff that they were going to be doing and putting in place to help people once they come out of a foreclosure. I just feel like a lot of people still have a lot of equity in their property, and they can always sell the property as opposed to getting foreclosed on. That may be different where you are if you're not in Southern California, or not in California in general, really. You know, if you're, like I said, in other parts of the country where real estate doesn't appreciate and value the way it does here and all that, you may experience something different. But here, I really don't see that happening. Like I said, this just confirms it even more for me that we're really trying to uh, keep the lid on this thing and make sure that we don't have what happened, you know, 15 years ago happen again. Because that's also not good for people who also currently own homes. You know,
Right.
how much equity, how much value, how much wealth was lost because of all of those short sales, right?
Exactly.
So it's not good for anybody. So I really do feel like this is going to be handled completely different. And they're putting more responsibility on the banks this time around. Last time it kind of felt like it was more responsibility on the homeowners, really.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Wes.
Yep.
And Wes is really nice. So, what I'm going to tell you straight is if you're a buyer, you need to buy now. Okay. Don't wait on gambling for this huge crash coming where you're going to be able to save so much money. That's not, doesn't seem like that's happening based on Wes's research. Does not seem like that's happening at all. And remember, at the end of the day, you tell us your budget, and that's what we work on. You tell us your budget, and that's what we work on. So, all right, perfect. Now we move on to topics. Topics. So, oh, the equity you will grow. I love that. I love that for two reasons. Number one, who does not love equity that grows? Number one. Number two, I'm a huge Dr. Seuss fan, so that totally makes me think of a Dr. Seuss book. So Wes, let expound on that. Oh, how the equity will grow.
Yeah, this is something to me that is really near and dear to my heart because we speak all the time about the benefits of home ownership compared to being a renter. And one of the main focuses we always talk about is the equity that you have the ability to build. Now, talking about it on paper or talking about it as a concept is really good, but it's great when you get to see it in application in real life, in real time. So I have three clients that I'm working with or have worked with within the last few weeks that have all gone through a refinance or are going through a refinance to use some of the equity in their home to set different things up for themselves financially. So I have one buyer in particular, or not a buyer, but she's a homeowner. And what she did was she took out a second mortgage, which I helped her do. And what she's doing with that second mortgage, she's adding a mother-in-law quarters to her current property, and that's going to equal rental income for her. So that is the next step. She's going to add that mother-in-law quarter to the property. She's then going to rent it out, and then after that, probably within the next year or so, I'm going to help her buy her next property, and she's going to leave that one as a rental, and she's going to be able to rent to more than one family that way. So that's number one. I have another client who is older. He's an older gentleman, and he's pretty much retired. He's got a few different properties. He's taking cash out on those properties, and he's going to use that cash to help him enjoy his retirement. And that's not the only retirement he has, but he's like, hey, can't take it with me, and this is what I did it for. So he's taking that cash out. He's going to be able to do more, travel more, really enjoy his retirement, which I think is really cool. And then lastly, I got a call from a previous client the other day, and she wants to buy a business, and she needs a couple $100,000 in order to do that. So I checked out the SBA route for her to see if that was a possibility. It wasn't. So now she's going to basically use the equity in her property, and it's going to allow her to buy a business and expand her, I'll say, her portfolio in that way. So we talk about it all the time, how much the equity in the property can do for you. And like I said, it's really cool to see that equity start to work for people and open up doors and create opportunities for people. And if you only rent, you don't have those opportunities.
Absolutely, and I love that, Wes. So the first person is going to take some money out to create a mother-in-law quarters, additional income, and then, like you said, in a year, she'll most likely buy another house, keep that as an investment property. The second person already has investment properties. Now he's using the equity he has in his properties to fund his retirement. And then you have the third person that's actually going to be refinancing, taking money out of her house to purchase a business. The power of equity, people. Growing, like getting an investment property that generates cash flow for you, funding your retirement, and also buying a business, starting a business. These are just some of the ways of what you can do with the power of equity. It's hard to do that when you're a renter. So, definitely thank you for sharing that, Wes, because I don't think we share that enough. We talk about, oh yeah, equity's great, equity's great, equity's great. But when you can actually share real life examples of it, it just makes it so much more powerful. So, the equity will grow. All right. Now we move on to market report. So we're going to talk about the jobs report, and then we're also going to talk about the real estate report. So Wes, expound on that a little more.
Yeah, so let's start with mortgage rates. So rates have been good this week. They've been at the lowest levels they've been at since mid-June. The 10-year Treasury bond reached its best levels in months. So it finally broke through that floor. And then also, the Fed has stated that it wants to see how things happen in the fall before they even talk about, basically major changes on policies and rates. So we know at least until probably September, they're not going to do anything major to upset, where interest rates are right now or where rates are, which is important because, again, if you're buying a home right now or buying a home before that happens, before any changes are made, that means you get to buy it at the current rates, which are lower, which means you qualify for more and you pay less for more house. So that's something to consider. Jobs report. So the jobs report, they added more jobs than expected. We overperformed by 144,000 jobs, which obviously is good. And then wages have also increased by 0.03%, which is also good. But of course, we're still not close to our pre-pandemic levels on employment. But, that's obviously a sign that we're headed in the right direction. So that's good. And then pending home sales. This is one I found pretty interesting. So home prices are increasing at a record pace, currently up 16%. For those of you who are waiting for the market to crash.
What time, Wes?
Currently up 16%.
16%.
16%. May was one of the best months on record for home sales, which was 8% higher than April and 13.1% higher than where we were last year in May. And then lastly, the expenditures on single-family resident construction increased by over 300 million from April to May. So they're still building, they're still creating new homes. The price are still going up. And when I was reading the article specifically on this, one of the things they pointed out, which I thought was very telling and interesting, they said all the people last year, a year ago, who waited because they thought by this time the market was going to crash, surely are regretting that they waited to get in. So that's just something to consider.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I mean, yeah, definitely. We didn't see that, and then also, last May, obviously we were really in the thick of COVID, in the thick of the pandemic, so it's not uncommon that we would definitely see an increase in home sales from the previous May just because of that. And then also there were people, some of my, clients were really counting on the fact of 2021 being that year that the market was going to crash or the bubble was going to burst, right? So now all of a sudden the scenario is, let's say, the house that you saw, last year was 650. Now the house that you see now, it's about 700. You know what I mean? Just because you saw the increase, right? So the thing is, something I learned from a mentor a long time ago is, when it comes to home ownership, when it comes to the market period, you don't wait to buy. You buy and you wait, right? And it really comes down to those three things, those three questions. Right. Are you financially responsible to take on a mortgage? Can you afford it? Do you plan to live there for at least 3 years? Right? You're saying yes to all of these things, then you're ready to buy a house. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So, yeah, thank you, Wes, for the real estate and for the jobs report. All right. Now we move on to City Spotlight. City Spotlight. And today's city is the city of Cyprus. Yes. So I'm going to share some quick facts about Cyprus, and I'll let Wes share all the fun stuff that you can do in Cyprus. See, Wes shares the fun stuff you can do in Cyprus, and I just give you like some little numbers, So I'll start with the first. So Cyprus was incorporated in July 24th, 1956. So it's this month, right? So on the 24th, that's going to be Cyprus's anniversary. That's pretty awesome. The average home price in Cyprus right now is about $780,000. Average income in Cyprus is about $93,000. An average days on market for homes, meaning that when a home comes on market and when it's actually, goes into escrow, is about 28 days. That's what we're seeing there. And the right now, currently in the city of Cyprus, there's about 72 homes available for sale in the city of Cyprus. And I'm going to let Wes share with you fun things you can do in the city of Cyprus.
Okay, so we've been hearing about concerts in the park with almost every city that we've talked about. Cyprus does it bigger than that, though.
What?
Yeah. Are y'all ready to put your pinkies out? Get your pinkies out, y'all. Concerts on the green.
Okay. On the golf
All
course.
right.
I think of we said the green. I think of the golf course.
That's right.
Oh,
They also have a Salute to America celebration for July 4th, which is awesome. They have a National Public Works Week where they show appreciation to the public's work people, which, by the way, guys, for those of you who are not playing, what is it, The Sims? For those of you who don't play The Sims, if your public works are not working properly, it's not going to be real fun to live in that city. Okay?
yeah,
Just telling you. So they also have this is really cool. I didn't know about this. They have a home-based business grant for residents in the city where they pick 80 people who operate a home-based business and give them a grant for $2,500.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
They have a certified farmers market. Other cities have farmers markets. Theirs is certified.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder what that's about. How do you get a certified farmers market?
I don't know. You probably, before you sell anything there, they probably have to check out your facilities, make sure everything's all natural and all that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They also have the Cypress run. So they do the 5K, 10K race every year. And you can walk if you want for people like me and Kier.
Don't put me in that category. I could jog a little bit too.
They have a kids night out every third Friday, which this is really cool. They do it so that parents can have some alone time.
Wow. Okay.
So kids night out, you drop them off and then you guys go to the movies, go grab a bite to eat, enjoy some alone time. I bet the divorce rate in Cyprus is much lower than other cities. I'm going to bet.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. So absolutely.
Yeah, and then also they have a college there. So they have a junior college there, which is Cypress College. They're part of the Anaheim Union School District. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so give it up for the city of Cyprus. Yeah, that's a really good idea, man, about that third Friday, like being able to drop your kids off. That's a really great idea. May have to introduce that to
up on that.
Absolutely, for sure, definitely. That's great. So one more time for the city of Cyprus. All right, now we move on to one of my favorite sections of the show, the West Files.
All right. So today it's all about the bigger picture. So I'm going to share this with you, and this is a real message I got yesterday. Kier knows it because I screenshotted it and shared it on my Facebook page today. Hi, Wesley. 1 year ago today, we signed papers on our house. We are still extremely happy and would not be here without you. Thank you again for everything. And I got to tell you, that's the best message I ever received. I mean, that is one of the best messages I've ever received. Just out of the blue. Just, you want to talk about a random act of kindness. I'm going to call that a random act of appreciation. And I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. So when we talk about the bigger picture, we talked about a few weeks ago about demanding more and expecting more when you go to deal with your real estate or mortgage professionals. So for me, I have always operated my business like what I'm doing is more important than just financing or funding a loan or financing a property. Now, I learned that early in my career from the other side of the spectrum, not from a great experience, but for an ugly memory. And in this particular case, I had a client that was going to relocate from Orange County out to the Inland Empire, like Menifee, I believe it was, somewhere around there. And we were deep in the process, the escrow process, and something popped up on their credit report that tanked their score and pretty much was going to ruin the loan for them. So I get a call from the borrower, one of the borrowers one day. She calls me, she's in tears. And she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I already told my job I was transferring. I already made the steps to transfer the kids from their school. I told my landlord we were going to be out by the end of the month. And I got to tell you, that was the worst feeling. One of the worst feelings I've ever had. And that day is kind of when I realized that what I was doing was much more important than just financing a home. Thankfully, we were able to take some steps to get our credit back where it needed to be. They were able to close escrow, they got their keys. But like I said, for me, that's when I realized the weight of the whole thing. And what we do as professionals in this industry, it's much bigger than just helping people buy homes or finance homes, because there's more to it than that. So for starters, get ready to write this down, because this is going to be a quote that people are going to want to use years and years from now, and you're not going to want to forget it. The home is the corporate headquarters for the family.
Wow.
Think about that. Think about that. Your home is the corporate headquarters for the family. That is for a lot of families, that is the center of gravity for their family. That's where the memories are. That's where the holidays happen. That's where important family meetings happen. That's where your parents are, going to retire. You know what I'm saying? So it's very, very important. So that's number one. Number two, ownership. We were talking about what America means to us. And I can't remember if it was you or me, Kier. Somebody said something about the American dream.
I
right?
did. That was me. That was all me.
Okay. I like the way you think. Home ownership is the pinnacle of the American dream. Because at that point, that's when you really feel like you own a piece of this country. And that is the reason why the VA loan to this day is the best loan out there. Because guess what? If you're going to enlist a bunch of people that have to go fight and defend this country, then they darn well should own a piece of it. So it is the pinnacle of the American dream. So that's another important reason, an important thing about homeownership. And then lastly, home is community. Okay, when you own a home, you are entrenched and anchored into a community. Many people have probably heard the saying, takes a village, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I can remember growing up, there were neighbors that I had on my parents' street that we were all familiar with and knew. They would watch out for the kids. They would let the parents know if the kids were doing something or whatever. All the activities you do, that's all going to be with a lot of people who are entrenched in that neighborhood. That is a very big deal. So what we do for helping people buy a home, we are changing their life stories. You know what I mean? We are changing their life stories, and we are helping them achieve a part of the American dream. And we are helping them basically achieve a very big thing and create a very great positive response in their life for decades to come in a lot of cases. And that is why I'll end with this. I have no interest in creating home owners or home buyers. I am focused on creating home owners. What that means is my focus is to help people own homes for a long period of time. That's why I don't just throw people into homes or throw them in the loans when I see they're lacking in other places financially. Because the last thing I want to do is call somebody a couple of years ago to check in a couple of years from now or 5 years from now, check in on them and say, oh, Wes, I hate to tell you, man, we went through a foreclosure, man, and we had to sell the place. We just couldn't afford it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love that, Wes. You're not about, creating home buyers. You're about creating homeowners. Yeah, so definitely, that's great. I'm definitely gonna take a piece of that for sure. Yeah. So, in the news, man, in the news. So
In the
much going
news.
on, man. We got NBA finals, we got the Olympics, now the NCAA players, athletes can start making money. You know, a lot of great things, man.
Yeah. So to start with the NCAA, so they have the NIL, which now allows a college player to monetize their name, image, likeness, starting yesterday, actually, July 1st.
Hmm.
So now they can monetize themselves. Now, one of the things that people forget, which is very important to this rule being generated, was I think it was back sometime last year, early last year. Governor Newsom, and I believe LeBron James was involved in that process, passed a law here in California that was going to allow college athletes to take advantage of their likeness and all that.
Hmm.
Now, let me tell you why that's important and why that was probably key in what we saw with the NCAA. Because aside from, of course, the Supreme Court ruling last week, but also remember, because what that probably would have done is would have given college colleges in California a decided advantage over colleges in other parts of the country as far as recruiting student athletes. Because if I'm coming from a low middle class family, and by the way, I may not even make the NBA or the NFL or any other major sports league, and my choice is to go to Miami or go to UCLA. UCLA, I can go there and make money off of me just being a great athlete. Can't do that in Miami. I might lean toward UCLA, So that was probably really key in that. And so what they can do, they can accept endorsements from brands, so you can see college athletes doing Coca-Cola commercials here shortly. You
Maybe on
know,
the box, possibly.
they can monetize yeah, they can monetize their social media, and they can also work with professionals that can help them coordinate those deals for them. So I know some people have concerns about that and the impact it's gonna have on college athletics and whatnot. Here's where I come out on it, and I'll let you go from that point, or I'll let you respond to it. Isn't it better that these kids can do this stuff in the light for change instead of in the darkness and lose their opportunity to either play college sports or worse, lose the achievements and the accomplishments that they created while they were in college. Case in point, Reggie Bush of USC fame is now working to have his Heisman and all his records reinstated. Now keep in mind, I think his parents took like a $300,000 in benefits or something like that. But that cardinal colored number 5 USC jersey, you consider how much money they made off of that. Just consider that and how much money he missed out on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And by the way, little known fact, because I play college football, somewhere out there's a college football game. I can't remember which one it is. And it may be more than one from back in 2001, 2000. I'm on there. I want my money. I am featured on there. I want my money. So what do you think about that, Kier?
I mean, for me, you're an adult. You perfected your craft, all the hours and the time you put in there to be the best at what you do. For me, I feel you are deserving compensation. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, you do deserve compensation for that, right? I mean, you're the one in the locker room. You're the one in the field. You're the one doing these things, and you're also making sure that you're getting good grades as well. You know what I mean? And the thing is, these other people have been making money off of you for
Right.
years,
Right.
without any type of compensation. Now you get a piece of it too. So for me, I'm for it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And by the way, the other part that nobody talks about, it's also you putting your body on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because there are guys who walk away from college football with injuries they're going to have for the rest of their life.
Right.
I remember a young man who played for Rutgers. maybe 10 years ago on the kickoff team. He's now paralyzed from the neck down from a hit that they made. And I can tell you right now, somebody who played college football, it hurts, man, just like the NFL hurts. Okay? The pain is real. When people hit you, it's real. So that's the way I look at it. Moving on, we got the NBA playoffs.
Yes.
So congratulations to Chris Paul with the Phoenix Suns, who got to his first, finally got to the NBA Finals. And I'm so sad that he had to eliminate the Clippers to do it.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell by your expression. You are super sad. Absolutely.
Well, I do feel for the Clippers because they, Kawhi Leonard did not play. I don't think he played one game in the Western Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
He was hurt the whole time. So you hate to see that happen because you always want to see teams play each other at full strength.
Absolutely.
And if you win, you want to win playing a team at full strength. So there's that. And then over in the Eastern Conference, we now have a 3-2 lead. The Bucks are up on the Hawks, and both of their main players are not playing. So Trae Young and Giannis Antetokounmpo, try saying that 5 times fast. They didn't play. I think Trae hasn't played the last 2 games. Giannis went out in the first half the 2 games ago. So, yeah, it was just basically a bunch of, B-list players,
We like to call
each
them
other.
role players, Wes. We like to call them role players, okay?
I thought B-list sounded better.
I don't think so. I'd rather be a role player than on the B list. At least I got a role to play.
Well, yeah. Well, I was using B-list because you still have some people like Chris Middleton, who he's an all-star. I mean, he's not a superstar, but he's been an all-star. So you do have other players in the league on both teams that are pretty good. So yeah, that's that. So we'll see who wins and who's going to face Phoenix in the finals. And sadly, I don't know if Phoenix is going to face a healthy team, and they're probably just going to sweep whoever shows up if they're not healthy.
Oh wow!
I'm going to make a prediction. This is going to be one of our lowest rated NBA finals, probably in a decade. I'm just going to throw that out there right now, because no matter which parent it is. Well, let me back up. If you have Trae Young, the up and coming upstart point guard, going against the old salty dog Chris Paul, people would want to watch that. That would be interesting. People might look forward to that matchup. But if it's the Bucks and Phoenix, I don't know. I'll watch because I'm a fan. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
And then lastly, yeah, what do you have to say about it?
No, I mean, for me, like that's a great story. The young, I was gonna say buck. He's not a buck. The young hawk, right?
Yeah.
Against the crafty veteran. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, that would totally be a great match to see. And Chris Paul, like, he's been around a long time. And it's like he's always been a good player. He's always been a good player. And now he really gets the opportunity to shine. So I'm rooting for him. Like, I hope he brings home a championship, because the thing is, he's been around a long time. I mean, how long has he been in the NBA? At least over 13 years, right?
Yeah, at least probably around there, like 13, 14, maybe 15 years.
Right. So it's like, I don't see him playing much longer. You know what I mean? Like, I think once he gets the championship, hopefully he does, then he could retire into the sunset, as opposed to these young players where, hey, they win the championship this year, they can always, come back, another time. So, I mean, that's how I see it. And like I said, Chris Paul has always been a good player. He's always had a positive attitude for the most. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't really think of any times he's been, really physical with a lot of the other players or anything like that. Really, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's never had that type of reputation of being a
He's
bad
a State Farm guy, man. You don't get State Farm if you're that kind of guy.
That is very true. You never see. Yeah,
he's Mr. State Farm.
Right, exactly. Let's see just Robin playing a role or anyone like that for sure. But yeah, man. So I'm rooting for Chris Paul to to get his championship, because I truly feel he deserves it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm rooting for him as well. But let me tell you why I'm rooting for him. Because had the league not done some shady stuff and canceled our trade when we picked up CP3 with the Lakers, he would already have a few championships.
Oh,
him and Kobe in the backcourt.
All day.
And the irony of it is, and the thing that frustrates me about it, the Lakers, all they did was get one other great player to play with Kobe. Just one. Now you got super teams all over the place and nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, look what you got in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Look what you had in Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what?
Miami. Don't forget about Miami.
Miami too. But I'll say this.
Right after.
Well, the Celtics happened before that, actually, and that was a big three.
Yeah.
But I take it as a compliment because to me, I think that says just how dangerous and how great both Kobe and CP3 were, that the league rallied together and united and came together like the Monstars in the original Space Jam.
Yes,
to make sure that they could not play together.
The good one, the one that everyone should watch. Yes.
To make sure that those guys didn't unite. I mean, that's crazy. They're like, CP3 and Kobe, we can't have that, man. They'll have everything locked up for the next few years. We can't have it. Can't have it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So lastly, regarding the Olympics, not much has changed, a bunch of trials or whatever. One big story that was actually kind of sad. I really feel bad. Sha'Carri Richardson. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She won in the trials, she won the women's 100-yard dash. She's the one that ran up in the stands and jumped in her grandmother's lap. I was reading her story. I didn't know this. I guess her birth mother passed away like a week before that. That's kind of why that moment happened. But they tested her. She tested positive for TCH. For those of you who don't know, that's the active ingredient in marijuana. And so she got a suspension. She's not going to be, I don't think she's going to be able to compete in this year's Olympics.
Oh, no.
Yeah, which is really sad because, number one, I don't think we won the women's 100-yard dash since like 1996 or something like that. I think it was like Gail Devers. And, you only get a shot once every 4 years for these guys, man. Once every 4 years.
So how long does that stay in your system, Wes? Do you have an idea?
I have no clue. I mean, I know. And another thing is, too, I guess this is like it was only newly banned in 2021. So it was just banned this year. But yeah, I've heard different stories about how long it stays in your system. But I do also know that there's like a difference between testing your blood or something like that. I believe if they like test your hair, it goes back way further. Like your hair will tell on you. Thankfully, you and I don't have that problem, but your hair will tell on you. But that's really sad though, because like I said, they have once in 4 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
NBA players get the finals every year. Football players get the Super Bowl every year. Golf, you get several majors every year. You get several majors in tennis. For a lot of these competitors, this is it. This is her Super Bowl, and it ain't coming around for another 4 years. Now, the good news for her, she is only 21. But I always hate saying that when it comes to athletes because you don't know what's going to happen with injury.
Yeah, absolutely. 4 years is a long time. I mean,
or the
6 months is a long time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, or the competition too that's coming behind you because you might be the biggest and baddest on the block now, but there could be somebody coming up that wouldn't qualify for the Olympics right now. But 4 years from now, they might blow you out of the water.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Like that Noah guy, right? Like that high school kid, he just beat like Usain Bolt's record or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so you never know. Like with athletics, it's always important to take advantage of the opportunity or be able to take advantage of the opportunity when it presents itself because, you hear football players in the NFL, they talk about it often. They'll say, yeah, we got to that one year. We were really good. We got to the Super Bowl. We had one of the best teams ever. We lost the Super Bowl and we were like, don't worry, we'll get them next year. And we never got back there,
Well, I think they said for football, they said what you have like after a team wins a championship, you have like a less than 20% chance of coming back to the Super Bowl. I mean,
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
like yeah, it's like something like that astronomical. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
think, wait, we just won the Super Bowl. Now next year we go from 20% chance to make it, and that's how it is, right? Because I mean, most teams start to piece out. You know what I mean? Like I mean, not you know what I mean? Like piece out. Like this person got traded, this person retired, this person might have got injured, right? So the pieces of the team start to break apart. So all of a sudden, you're not dealing with, with the team that brought you there. Not to mention, like you said, physically, right? Like you could have been the beast that year, and then the next year, it's like you're not able to get up to that level again. So yeah, my heart's to her, man. I mean, that's super unfortunate because she was like you know what I mean? They're like she was like
She was a
FloJo.
darling.
They're comparing her, absolutely.
Yeah, she was getting ready to be the darling of the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
She really was. Like if
Yeah.
she would have won, like it would have been over. And the other thing is too, that's really sad. A lot of these Olympic athletes don't make a lot of money.
Right.
You know, a lot of them for a lot of there were some that actually have jobs. I didn't know this. Some of them that actually have to work a job. But for a lot of them, the best case scenario is you can find sponsorships to at least like sponsor all your equipment, your
Mm-hmm.
training, all that stuff, so that you don't have to work and you can just train. But once you're in the Olympics and you win and you blow up, that's where they make their money. It's off all the endorsements and all of that. And she was getting ready to, she was getting ready to get a big haul. I think she was going to be, on what's her name, Simone Biles type level. If she would have won the 100, as far as endorsements and everything, oh yeah, that moment alone with her grandmother, it was done. It was done, done. She could hear the sounds, ka-ching, and yeah, unfortunately, man, rough.
Yeah, it's
Rough.
unfortunate that it happened, So yeah, well, jeez. Yeah, wow.
Whoops,
Well, I'm
there it
hoping all
is.
the other USA athletes that made it past the trials. We're definitely rooting for you guys in the Olympics. It's definitely one of my highlights. Definitely, being able to watch the Olympics is definitely something that that I enjoy. And I like both. I like Summer Olympics. I also like the Winter Olympics. Right. I like both of them. So definitely being able to root our USA players on. And see how many gold, silver, and bronze medals they'll bring back home. So it's gonna
Oh
be
yeah,
definitely fun to watch it for sure. So
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. Looking forward to it. I'm gonna
yeah,
have to try to keep up with all the events. You know how they usually plan on like 4 or 5 different channels, different times. I have to work to keep track.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yes. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us today for our episode 12 of Real Talk with Coach Q. And
Broker West.
all right, guys. Until next time. See you in the next episode.